Good evening and greetings, Graham fam. My name is Nikita Archie, class of 2002, and I am the chair of the Special Projects Committee. It is my honor to bring you greetings and welcome you to our program on behalf of the committee. Now, I trust that you all have enjoyed our inaugural Alumni Week and virtual convention thus far, starting out with our red carpet rollout on Monday, our welcome from President Jones and President Gallo. Tuesday was dynamic and engaging as we heard from the state of GSU address from the university leadership. And tonight we intend to build on that momentum as we build together and present our program, Bridging the Gap, conversation with the classes at the Black and Gold table. Now, just as the program, the title suggests, the program endeavors to bridge the gap, make the connection, and address the disconnect in membership some of you have expressed. Now, is it a final solution? Of course not, but it is a great start. And so we invite you, Graham fam, to stroll down memory lane with us as we get a perspective across the classes. Our format this evening will consist of five panels, 2 to 3 panelists apiece, with time reserved at the end of the program for Q&A session. And we also invite you during the program, as the questions come to you, feel free to post those in the Q&A platform. And again, we'll circle back around to them in our program. So at this time, before we turn it over to our moderator, who we're very, very pleased to have, the one and only Ms. Kim Ford moderating this evening for us. We'd like to hear from President Jones, our very own President Jones. President Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
He needs the link.
We would like to thank all of you for being on, and our chairperson, we really thank y'all for putting this together. Our team is doing a great job with this inaugural Alumni Week, and we thank all the panelists that's on this evening. You know, the generational gap, so we need to all make sure that we appreciate one another, and I know some things gonna be said tonight to make sure that you know, we understand our classes and what we, you know, all kind of went through, and then bringing them up to date on where we are to kind of appreciate each other, because we are one big happy Graham fam. Again, thanks to the tech team, thanks to the chairperson, Nikki, thanks to everyone that put this together, and we're looking for the healthy discussion. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you, President Jones, for your leadership, for your vision, and for a grand event this week. Thank you. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to turn it over to Madam Moderator, Ms. Kim Ford. We ask that you sit back and relax and enjoy our program. Greetings and welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Ford. At the time I was at Grambling, I was Kim Garner. I'm so excited to be here. I'm an original Gramblinite from Grambling High School and Grambling State. So I have an invested interest in Grambling State University. I finished in December 1997, and I have lived in Atlanta ever since the day of graduation. I packed the U-Haul and hit I-20, and I've been in Atlanta ever since, and I absolutely love it. I currently work in media, where I'm a TV host, TEDx speaker, and an author. And my book is currently on Amazon called It's Never Too Late. Make sure you go and get it. And I'm so excited to help bridge the gap between generations. I think it's so needed, and I'm excited to get the ball rolling. So, oh, I forgot to mention, I was an Archesis while I was at Grambling State University. Let's not forget that part. Mighty, wonderful, beautiful Archesis Dance Company. Okay, with Diane Maroney. So let's get this panel started. Our first panel is with Reverend Arlester Brown, class of 1947, and Alexis White, class of 2021. Her major was biology and cybersecurity. You may take the floor. Let's start with Mr. Arlester Brown. Can you tell us?
Greetings to all. This is Reverend Dr. Arlester Brown, a proud 1949 college graduate of Grambling College. I hold a bachelor's degree in science from Grambling College, presently Grambling State University, and a master's degree in administration education from Texas Southern University, Houston, Texas. a master's degree in divinity and additional theological studies, where I received at Howard a master's of divinity, and of course, I received from a Living Life Church a doctoral degree, honorary doctoral degree. I currently reside in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area of North Capitol Northwest. I am also a retired clergy member of the United Methodist Church. I retired in 1970 from the public school system in the proud and mighty state of Louisiana. It is my honor and a distinct pleasure to come before you with several historical facts about the village and city of Grambling, Louisiana. What the present Grambling, Louisiana citizens and the students, as well as need to know about Grambling Village and the institution. Before Grambling Village became a city, it was a great and most faithful Christian community of thriving Black people. Before I was drafted in World War II, a white man was married to a Black woman. That was the only white person who lived in Grambling in 1940. The great and most important facts one had about the Grambling village was first that it was a God-fearing people who knew one another by family. Grambling, Louisiana village was owned and operated by Black people, businesses, and institutions such as elementary, high school, college, as well. It was presently known as the Louisiana Negro Normal Industrial Institute and was located west of the Grambling, Allen Green, as it was located there first. The following businesses, churches, Methodist and Baptist institutions were owned and operated by the following people. Owned and operated by D. Hollis and Abby Lee Hollis. The village grocery stores were owned and operated by the Given family north of the railroad track, and the Williams also owned a grocery store south of the railroad track. The first restaurant and barbershop was owned and operated by Mike Osmond family. The first cafe shop was owned and operated by Bob Moe family. The first tailor and pressing shop was owned and operated by Benny Woodard family. The first post office master was operated by the Bolin family. The CME Church, known as Good Hope, and the Baptist Church was owned and operated by the members of the church. The CME Church is a connectional church. The schools were owned and operated by the people of the village. It was my great and most eye-operating and historical moment to have known Mr. Charles B. Adams. President Charles B. Adams was not only a founder, but also a landowner in the village. It was my great experience as a young boy who knew a cousin of his, Wesley Johnson, as we both worked for Mr. Adams. We made money, $5. Back then was a lot to purchase Coke, hot dogs, popcorn, and a Baby Ruth candy bar. We had a grand time using that small amount of money and a little extra money to dance at the most jukebox that was placed in Bob Moe's cafe.
Thank you so much. We're
I'm
gonna
gonna vote aye.
move on to our, can you hear me? Thank you so much. I absolutely love these photos. You really took us back to a time, obviously, that we appreciate and love to hear from you about. We're gonna next bring up Miss Alexis White, who graduated in 2021 with a major in biology and cybersecurity.
Okay, well, I guess I can give a little introduction of myself following the questions. And so I graduated first in 2018 with a biology degree and a minor in business management. And once again in 2021 with that cybersecurity degree. I was a part of a lot of different organizations on campus, such as the FSUB, Student Government Association. I was the director of academic success there, and I was the honors college president for 2 years. And I am also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, became a member in 2016. I currently am working with Deloitte as an apprentice out of the Chicago office, and I'm enjoying this apprenticeship year, learning on the job training and just getting all of that knowledge and soaking that up. So I'm gonna hand it back to you, Ms. Ford.
Awesome, that was great. I'm going to add in, my own questions because, that's what I do. I ask questions for a living. So can you tell us briefly about what that transition was like during COVID while a student at Grambling?
Well, I would say for me, it was pretty easy because I like being online. I know that I had a lot of other peers that did not necessarily like being online. And I think that's just a personal preference. And plus I'm in cyber. So, I mean, of course I have to like the computer, but it was really nice. I will say that it was different as far as not being able to go in the yard. Not being able to just congregate like we normally would for certain events, and Bayou Classic being canceled. I mean, that was detrimental.
I agree.
But yeah, it wasn't so bad for me transitioning online at Grambling, nor doing the same thing for this apprenticeship. So they definitely prepared me for this, my first job. So yeah.
So tell us what you're doing now in cybersecurity.
Currently, I'm working on the strategy, actually the global side of Deloitte, under the strategy and governance team, and I work under compliance strategy and a few other areas. You're muted.
You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm doing right now. Just doing a lot of translating documents and working with the different member firms across the world, actually. So that's really interesting. Getting a chance to talk with different folks from Russia and France every day. You're meeting someone new and getting a different experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Reverend Arlester Brown and Alexis White. We're going to move on to our next panel. Ms. K. Frances Turner Hunter graduated in 1955 with a major in elementary education, and Ms. Bertha McGaskey Ellis, who graduated also in 1955 with a major in business education. Ms. Turner Hunter, you may take the floor. I think you're muted. Okay.
We're good now. Okay.
Got me on mute.
All right. Start over. My name is Kay Frances Turner Hunter, and I am in Dallas, Texas. Of course, I majored in elementary education, and I was a part of the band, part of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and Alpha Kappa Mu honor society. And I was what is now called Archesis. I was a part of the dance troupe. I am retired. I am retired after 50 years of serving in education as a teacher, a specialist, assistant principal, coordinator, assistant professor of education, and director. I am a part of the, what was the name? Dallas chapter. And one of my memorable experiences was being made into Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. While being online, something went amok at the top, which allowed all sororities and fraternities to go a few days longer. By this time, we were talking to each other. And of course, you know, online, you cannot talk to anybody. So the AKs were talking to the Deltas and etc. We decided that if we were not made into the various sororities and fraternities by a certain date, we were not going to be made at all. So, of course, that didn't happen. We were so happy to once they decided to let us go into the sorority or fraternity. We were so happy, so we did not make that choice. Grambling College prepared me in ways that I cannot fathom. Not only was I prepared for the classroom to teach, but for life. The activities in which I was engaged were wholesome and engaging. Grambling, with its support system, allowed me to develop a confidence level that could border on being cocky. Be that as it may, I am so proud that Grambling is my alma mater. Do you have a question?
Of course I do. Of course I do. You know, I love hearing those classic stories, you know, sorority stories, because it's great to know how things have changed or how even sometimes they are still the same. Yeah. From the 50s until now. So thank you for sharing your experience with us. Okay, Ms. McGaskey Ellis, you're up next.
Okay, thank you, and hello, everybody. Hope you all are as excited as I am. I'm Bertha McGaskey Ellis, a 1955 business major at Grambling. I retired after teaching for 30 years in Natchitoches Parish and Rapides Parish. I'm a life member of the alumni, a charter member of the Mildred S. Jones chapter in Alexandria, Louisiana. After the death of my husband in 2012, I relocated to Dallas, and the Dallas chapter welcomed me with open arms. Miss Greta Burton is my president in Dallas, and I met my husband at Grambling, Thomas A. Ellis Sr., and he's the father of my two children, Thomas Ellis Jr., Sharon, and my grandson. All three of them graduated from Grambling. My grandson is Will Garrett. I have a unique experience at Grambling because when I went to Grambling in 55, I didn't have these elaborate dormitories like all the others that came after me. We had to live in the old barracks at Grambling, and it was about 8 of us in one room. We didn't have a bathroom in there. We didn't have any place to wash your face. We didn't have any place to brush your teeth. You had to go out on the hall. We had to put our lockers out on the hall and go out there in the mornings, pull out something to wear, but we didn't complain. We were just happy to be there. And really, I did not want to go to Grambling. If it had not, my sister is the person that inspired me to go to Grambling because I had not planned to go to any college. She graduated from Grambling in 1957. I had a cousin also graduated in 1957 from Grambling. And they were the sparks behind me to get me enrolled at Grambling. But I enjoyed every moment I had there. I did further study at Northwestern, Louisiana College, and Wiley College. I had a very enjoyable 4 years at Grambling. And some other things that I remember about Grambling is that we didn't have a choice like these students have today. Today, if I want to go to the ball game, I go. But when I was at Grambling, the house dean, okay, it's game night. She marched you out of there. That dormitory was cleared out. Everybody had to go to the game, whether you knew what you were looking at or not. As President Jones was my president, jump up and shout when you see all the rest of them, if you don't know what's going on. And we had to go to those ball games. Another thing we had on Sunday evenings, we had Vesper program. That's another thing you had to go to. You didn't have a choice. Okay, dormitory was clean. You had to go. You had to get up on Sunday morning and go to church. That was a must. No ins and outs. And another thing that I got from Grambling that I enjoyed more was the speakers that they would bring and the different programs that they would bring to Grambling. I remember Mary Clyde Bethune. If any of you saw that lady, we always, when you look at her, you think she's the ugliest person in the world. But when this lady opened her mouth, oh my God, that was the most prettiest person you had ever want to experience. And Madame Butterfly. Well, those things I would not have been able to see had I not come to Grambling, because I live way back in the woods in Natchitoches Parish, and thank God for Grambling. Another thing, Grambling prepared me for the world of work. Taught me good ethics, good work ethics, good morals. You know, at Grambling, when you got ready to go home, when I was enrolled at Grambling, you had to have a letter from your parents. And if you were going home Friday, that letter better be there Thursday, or you did not get a chance to go. You better, it had on that letter had to be how you were going, who was picking you up, the whole 9 yards. That's just the way it was at Grambling.
Thank you so much, Miss McGaskey Ellis. That was amazing. You know, I can definitely attest to that because I remember when we used to have Lyceum. I don't think they have Lyceum anymore, but I can definitely attest to some amazing speakers that, you know, really change your life by just hearing people speak. And the fact that you had the opportunity to see Mary Clyde Bethune, that says a lot. That says a lot, especially for Grambling. They always bring in the great people. Thank you so much. We're going to bring up our next. We're going to bring up our next panel, Mr. Warren Wilkes, graduate of 1974, French major, and Miss Kimyetta Hanson Hayden, graduated class of 96. She was also Miss Grambling State University, 95, 96, and she was a mass comm major. Mr. Wilkes, you can take the floor.
Mr. Wilkes, you're on mute.
You're muted, Mr. Wilkes. Okay.
Oh, okay. I graduated in 1974 with a major in French. I'm affiliated with Alpha Phi Alpha while at Grambling. I was also a member of Phi Mu Gamma. And who's who? I'm an American student. Grambling prepared me for one of the best jobs I have in the world right now. I'm retired. I live in Atlanta, and I am a member of, I'm the treasurer of our Metro Atlanta chapter. And you talk about there's people that I just really need to thank for being at Grambling, Dr. Roy Moss, Dr. Grantham, and Dr. Palazzi. They helped me so well. I have so many firsts from Grambling. It was the first time I ever rode on an airplane, the first time I ever went out of the country, So there was just a lot of firsts. They prepared me so well that while I was at Grambling in 1973, I studied at the University of Angers in Paris, France. Just imagine that happening. But the best part about everything, they prepared me so well that I spent 10 years out of the country for UPS. I spent 5 years in the French-speaking country of Montreal, and I also spent 5 years in Paris, France. And if it was not for Dr. Palazzi helping me with my French, that would never happen. How fun is that? That, you know, I can say that I'm a proud Grambling grad. I worked in those countries, and it's just wonderful. My message would be to the students today is if you just listen and take in what the faculty try to do for the kids today, you're going to be okay. I'm a living witness of that. So with that, I'll turn it over to the next person.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilkes, and everything you said. You know, I can attest to that as well. You know, it's my first time traveling abroad with Dr. Brooks. If anyone you remember, yeah. Dr. Brooks, he took us on those trips to go to Mexico. Right. I think we went to Mexico City and Saltillo. I never forget that experience, and it's life-changing so that you can see the world from a global view, not just from a local view. So thank you so much for that. Okay, Ms. Kim Yatta, you're up next. You're muted.
There we go. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to my class, my illustrious class president, William Billy Bryant, for recommending me. And so like Kim said, I attended Grambling and graduated in '96. I was a mass communication major, and throughout my time at Grambling, it was amazing. There were so many highlights, one of which you see on the screen there. In '95, '96, I was really very blessed to be named Miss Grambling that year. And 5 years before that, I saw a girl named Tiffany on the Miss Black. It was like all the college queens were on TV back then. And I saw Tiffany, I don't remember her last name, and she was Miss Grambling and she won the pageant. And I remember going, wow, I think I want to go there. Well, fast forward, a few people talked to me about going into communications, and I decided, well, I won't go to Grambling, I'll go to Howard. But Howard didn't offer me enough money. Then Jackson State came into play, and I said, yeah, I'm going to go to Jackson State. They offered me a lot of money. But when we got the packet, my grandma, who I was living with at the time, she said, my granddaughter is not going to Mississippi because they lynch people in Mississippi. This is what my grandma said. And it just so happened the admissions office was on Lynch Street. So I couldn't go to Jackson State. And so I ended up choosing Grambling, and boy, I'm happy I did, because the motto, I don't know if it's still that, I think it is where everybody is somebody. And I really wanted to be somebody. So throughout my time at Grambling, I had so much fun. I started out in Martha Adams Hall, and then there on the screen, I moved to Tubman Hall. And I remember just hanging out in Tubman Hall, learning in all the classrooms, but just having fun and meeting people and loving on people, lifelong friends. And that's something that I took away from my time at Grambling. It wasn't until though I graduated from Grambling and I went to work at a PR firm in New York City that I got a chance to meet students who attended white institutions. And although they were advanced in terms of technology, because the internet was just starting when we were at Grambling. And so we only had like 2 computers in the mass comm building. And so I didn't know a whole lot in terms of using the internet. But one thing I got out of Grambling is what Miss Turner said. I was confident. I believed I was somebody. And so I decided to outwork every single student, from whether they were from Duke, there was a student from Harvard in the program, there were students from all over. but I just believed I was somebody. And so as a result, I got offered job after job. And today, the picture you see on the screen, I'm really, really blessed because I'm married to the great guy you see on the screen for almost 21 years. I have 3 kids, ages 16, 14, and 10. And I'm now helping my son make his decision, hopefully he'll choose Grambling, of where to go to college. So looking back, I'm so grateful that I didn't choose those other schools, but I chose Grambling. And lastly, Grambling is the place where I found my faith. My roommate in Tubman is the person that led me to the Lord, which is helping me do the things I do today as an adjunct professor and an author and a YouTuber for Christ. And so I'm really grateful for my time at Grambling and really happy to be here to see all of these great presentations and learn so much about Grambling's history.
Wow, that is amazing, Kim Yetta, fellow Tubman Hall resident right here.
Yeah.
You know, Tubman Hall was the best dorm on campus, but hey, that's debatable, but I'm kind of biased. But I absolutely so excited. So in case there's some, I don't know how many minutes we have left in this panel, but in case there are maybe some mass comm majors or recent graduates, what are some words, some of advice you would give them if they, are choosing a career that's related to mass communication?
Sure. It's really important to intern, to get internships. That was super important. And that made it really easier for me to have jobs in New York City coming right out of Grambling. I interned at a magazine in New York City my junior year. I interned my sophomore year at Fox 5 Atlanta News here for free. So even if you need to intern for free, you want that experience on your resume. So even if you work for free, you actually are getting that experience. So I would recommend you intern, network with people authentically, follow up with people respectfully, and try to stand out. Try to make sure people remember you. Everywhere I went, I wanted people to remember me. And so those are some things that I would highly recommend for mass comm majors, because our field is really, really competitive. I teach communications now to college students, and those are the things that I encourage them to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
We're going to move on to our next panel.
Madam Moderator, I'm
I
sorry.
can't-
Before we go, I have to point this out. I don't know if you intentionally did this, Ms. Kim Yetta, but do you notice what your community outreach sign says here?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's very fitting.
Yes, I saw that too.
When you shared the picture, I was like, perfect.
Wow. Didn't realize that my church volunteered at this place. It's a food shelter place a couple of weeks ago. Just realized that. It's called Bridge. Yeah. How about that?
Thank you. Okay, Madam Moderator.
Okay, that was awesome. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I'm missing Mr. Eric Moses. Mr. Eric Moses graduated in 2001. He was an accounting major and CIS major. Mr. Moses, you may take the floor.
Hello, I bring you greetings from Dubai. I wasn't sure I would actually make the session, but if you know Angelique Moody Ryan, when it comes to Grambling, there's nothing you can't do for Grambling. I said, well, hey, I wasn't actually planning to be in Dubai when I signed up for this, but she said, hey, you can set your alarm. You can wake up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning. So right now it's probably about 4 a.m. Here in Dubai, but that's really the love I have for Grambling. A little bit about me. I graduated class of 2000, spring 2001, accounting, computer information systems. I'm currently with Shell Law Company, finance director there. I'm a CPA, MBA. I'm also a certified internal auditor. So if anyone wants to talk about graduate programs, certifications, etc., happy to have that conversation offline. But in terms of my time at Grambling, it was really some of the the best years of my life. I've kind of listened to all the panelists, and I think I have a little bit of stories. I can see their stories kind of running into my stories, or really me kind of, leaning on their shoulders a lot, particularly, when you talk about Grambling gives you that edge, kind of, borderline cocky, although it's, this small school kind of in northern Louisiana. The professors, I think Kim talked about the travel program. I did that Mexican travel study program to Mexico. Someone talked about being in the SGA. I was SGA president. Alpha, my Alpha brother who paved the path for me. I was president of Alpha Phi Alpha there, president of the National Association of Black Accountants. Currently, I'm in the Houston chapter. Also will be affiliated with the River Parish chapter as one of the founding members. My sisters are actually helping to get that chapter back up and running, and they're going to reestablish that chapter. They graduated from Grambling, and someone talked about their siblings dragged them along. That's kind of what happened to me. And so really, I maybe just leave with this point is Grambling was really some of the best years of my life, and really prepared me for kind of who I am. I always say my mama raised me, but Grambling made me. And so that's, Grambling is always near and dear to my heart. So looking forward to, talking, Kim, if there's, questions from others.
Thank you, Mr. Moses. It's always great to hear, Grambling doing its job, meaning we all have the same, similar experiences, that it gives us the confidence. It made us who we are. We really grew up in so many levels there. So you graduated in 2001. That was a little bit after me. Yeah, we missed each other. But how would you say that the millennium, the digital divide was for Grambling? Because that was kind of when the internet was kind of coming about. I think I don't even have it. I barely.
Well, yeah. I mean, so just to be, yeah. So at that time, Facebook was just coming up, right? So none of us really had Facebook. We had MySpace. So at that time, it was MySpace. It wasn't Facebook. At the time I was there also, you still had the big cellular phones, but you were starting to get it. You had the beepers. And then it was this bug, the 2000 millennial bug. We all thought the world was going to end. And so, it was like, make sure you get your party in, before 2000, because the world is essentially, going to end. And so that was kind of what was going on at my time. The other thing that happened, particularly as me taking over as student body president, is we had just went through a period of rapid changes in presidents of Grambling. And as I came in, one president, Steve Favors, who the students really liked and enjoyed, thought he was making some good progress. He was removed before the students came back. And so kind of me and my leadership team, we saw it as kind of our role to be more active politically within the state, to do things, from an economic perspective, partnering, making sure businesses didn't take us for granted and rusting, et cetera. So it kind of gave us a little bit more of kind of that activism, wanting to be, more than just there as students, but really being good citizens, say for Grambling because of that experience. So those were some of the things that were going on during my time.
Okay. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your dedication, especially at 4 a.m. in the morning across the world. So thank you so much for your time. We definitely appreciate you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next panel, Mr. Robert Killings Jr. He graduated in 1984, majored in French, and also Mr. Sean Moore graduated in 2014. He's a marketing major, and he received his MBA in sports administration in 2016. Mr. Killings, you can take the floor.
Good evening. I've just been chuckling with all of the similarities. Let me just say, first of all, I didn't plan to go to Grambling. I was ready to go to sign up. I'd signed up for 6 years on a submarine. But two Grambling graduates, the principal and the of the junior high school and a teacher in my high school, just would not let me go to the military. They said, listen, you got to go to Grambling. If you want to go to military, get an ROTC. Well, I went to Grambling. I forgot about the military, and the rest is history. Graduated in 84 with a French degree. Like Brother Wiltz, I studied in France twice. Brother Wiltz at Angers, also at Montpellier. And I was double majoring, though. I was getting a computer science degree, but because of that year I spent in France, when I came back, the program had changed. So I said, to heck with that. I'm going to get my degree in French and move on. I was also SGA president of the Alpha chapter there. Delta Sigma was involved with Alpha Mu Gamma Honor Society. You know, Grambling prepared me in so many ways, but I got to say that the person who profoundly impacted me was Dr. Joseph B. Johnson, who was then the president. He is a legendary president of Grambling. He took me to board meetings in Baton Rouge. He took me all around the country with him, and I'm so grateful for that. But there were also other great leaders there. Dr. Pelosi, as Brother Wilkes had mentioned, Dean McIntosh in arts and in the humanities area, Dr. Phil Young in arts and sciences. So, and the last thing I would close with is this, and I've heard others say it. Grambling gave me a level of confidence to know that no matter where I was and what room I was in, and I've been blessed. I've been to the White House to see Nelson Mandela. I've met President Obama, shaking his hand, had lunch with him. I've been all over. And the one thing I can say that being a proud Grambling-nite and all the confidence that was instilled in me lets me know that wherever I go, I'm at home. So thank you for doing this today, alumni.
Thank you, Mr. Killings. What do you think are some career options for recent graduates that also maybe have finished in French or a different foreign language?
Well, you know, there are just tremendous opportunities. I believe in foreign service. One regret I have is that I didn't do Peace Corps, and Dr. Pelosi prevailed on me to do that. I do regret that. You know, I worked for a while part-time with American Airlines, and I took it because I could take calls in French. So I booked airline reservations part-time for people from France, from Haiti, from just all over the world. So it was a way for me to do that. So I think that's one. There are also translations. I have a friend here who does part-time translating of important documents and interpreting, so that there are, in addition to, of course, just the education.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Sean Moore, you're up next.
Gosh,
Sean, you're on mute.
sorry about that. All right. Once again, thank you guys, man. This is definitely a great opportunity just to bridge this gap. My name is Sean Moore, graduated from Grambling State University 2014 in marketing and 2016 with my master's in sports administration. Grambling has always, been in my blood, I would say, since I was young. I'm actually Eddie Robinson's great grandson. So it was kind of like, I always was around Grambling. So I knew that, once I get to that age, I was going to go to Grambling. I had opportunities to go to other universities because I was a baseball player out of high school. But when I got the opportunity, to play baseball at Grambling, I was like, it's automatic. I'm going to Grambling. Grambling was love. I miss Grambling. I would love to go back now. I remember the Tiger Tuesdays on the yard, the DJ playing, my classmates wearing their best fits because they knew that everybody would be on the campus from 11 to 1 because nobody had class. I was part of the Georgia Club, worked at the bookstore. What else? During my master's, I got an opportunity to work for the football team as a GA, so that was big for me. But, I love Grambling. To this day, I would say I definitely do bleed black and gold. I decided to go to Grambling, like I said, to continue that legacy from my mom, my aunt, my cousins, my uncle. It was just so many people, went to Grambling. So I love Grambling. That's all I can say.
I have to say we have a similar experience because when you're a Grambling your whole life, there is no other options. It's like, you already know you're going to Grambling. Like, exactly. Why are you even considering anywhere else? Because you've seen it since, when you were small. And my daughter is the same way. She's a 2019 graduate of Grambling State University. And so she was the captain of the Orchesis Dance Company.
Oh, I actually know your daughter. I know Jalen.
You know Jalen? Well, good.
Yeah, I know Jalen. The Atlanta connection. I still called her around when I was in my master's, and the Georgia connection. I was Georgia people.
Yes.
We had to link up, and
That's awesome. And I think Georgia had a strong connection at Grambling. And like from everyone from Williams to everyone I know are all amazing people that came from Georgia, whether they really live in Valdosta, but they claim Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right, you have those people. So and what words of encouragement or advice would you give for students that may have majored in marketing or maybe, not really know what they want to do after college? What would you say to them?
Marketing is a very broad major, but what I do say about marketing is taught me a lot. It taught me how to market myself, and marketing yourself in the world can help you get to places that you never know, you could achieve. So I definitely, I support marketing, but also I support, getting a minor just to help you specifically, look into something once you get out of school. But honestly, like I said, when you go to Grambling, you're gonna learn other things outside your major. That's just gonna come natural from living in Grambling. So I say when you go to Graham, just do whatever you want to do and you can be whenever you want to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we're going to move on to our final panel, Mr. Fabrice. And I don't want to mess up the other name. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. So you guys can take the panel. I don't want to mispronounce it. So you guys can go ahead and take the floor.
Fabrice, are you going first?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Fabrice Chuba. I'm originally from Cameroon. That's in West Africa. I want to say hi to Mr. Eric Moses. I don't know if he still remembers me, but he used to talk when we were, undergraduates doing NABA programs. We used to want to be like him, but, life took us to different routes. But I came to Grambling in 2006. I graduated in 2010. I did a bachelor's in accounting and computer information systems. Our stories is a little bit different. It's a little bit unique. How did I hear about Grambling? Remember, I'm from Cameroon. I'm from a city called Douala. Loic's elder brother was a sophomore in Grambling. So he actually applied for us. And we came to Grambling through an academic scholarship. And that was very unique because in where we come from, you have scholarship, but scholarship to America is a big thing, right? So we had to uphold to the standard. We had 4 years to graduate. We had to make sure we do what we have to do in order to graduate. So it was a very, very unique experience, being far away from home, very, very far. So I'm in Houston, Texas, and the surviving spirit in Grambling, molded me to still be in America today and do a lot of stuff. I'm a proud U.S. Army veteran. So surviving in Grambling, I was able to survive in the military too. Currently, I'm an independent contractor. I do Salesforce solution, enterprise solution, but one good fact about us is our way to give back to Grambling. Before graduating, we did a program, a sketch. We were in the Grambling Nights newspaper. We tried to share our story, moving from Cameroon, a young man moving from Cameroon to Grambling, and everybody loved it. We presented that in the Black and Gold room, and I carried that all over wherever I go up to today. But I will leave the floor to Loic because we have similar stories.
Hello, everyone. I am Loic Nago. I'm currently based out of Dallas, Texas. I graduated in 2011 with a degree in business economics. I currently work with Goldman Sachs in global compliance and regulations. Grambling, as Fabrice mentioned, we are both from Cameroon. We grew up in Douala. It's a French-speaking country. It's a French, Cameroons are bilingual, English and French, so we both speak French. The Grambling came to the radar in our family because we had an uncle who came to Grambling so many years prior to us coming, but he eventually took a detour and stayed in DC. So when that opportunity arose for us to, travel to the United States, this particular uncle told my dad that we should not go to a bigger city. We should go to a smaller town so we can focus and graduate. Otherwise, if you go to a bigger city, you can get lost in all the midst of all the opportunities that are. So eventually, yeah, we did got to Grambling with my twin brother. So I have a twin brother as well. He also graduated from Grambling in accounting. And that's why, Moses used to come to Grambling and, talk to us. My fun moments in Grambling, I would say, were in my junior and senior years. Specifically, the opportunity to attend student development conferences in New York, in Ohio, in Arkansas. It allowed me to really see that reality, spending time with other students from other schools, realizing that really there's potential here to excel, to bring value. So when I graduated in 2011, I moved to Dallas, worked with Capital One, then served in the military for 4 years. I was stationed out in Germany, Baumholder, then stationed in Fort Hood. Then eventually I currently work with Goldman Sachs doing financial crime compliance. So Grambling gave me that confidence, gave me that boost. So, when you walk in that room, you're really diverse, African background, Grambling, and you have a sense of confidence that if you excel, you humble yourself, but again, you go in that ability to deliver, people will be there to support you. So that has been, in a nutshell, that Grambling experience. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you for that insight. I've always been intrigued by international students about, how did you find out about Grambling? All the way from where you are and what made you come all the way from your country to Grambling. I think Fabrice already answered that, but I think it's always intriguing for international students. And it just shows how global Grambling is. How did you even find out about Grambling?
So just to add more perspective, when you're growing up in a foreign country like Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, what you understand is that a lot of the generation of people are really exposed to things that happen in other countries, either through radio, either through TV. So there's that interest. I want to see what's on the other side. A French and English speaking country. So when you get to that age where you're, graduated from high school, you meet up with a lot of people who have uncles, aunties, brothers in a foreign country. So you hear about their experiences, they're sending pictures. So that really gave us an idea that we wanted to travel to go to a foreign country and study. So Grambling more was that word of mouth rather than just going to the internet, because there was internet, but uncle will tell you this, auntie will tell you this. Those kind of feedback resonated deeply. So that was how, so my uncle came to Grambling. He also heard about some other group of Cameroonians who had come to Grambling. He did a year and a half and he went to DC, he stayed over there. So Grambling was, the first couple of months was a culture shock. However, we adapted to it. It's all about taking the best and also giving back, adding value to that community. So there were struggles, but the most important thing I would say is ability to connect with other students, African Americans, and see that diversity that we bring in and work together and not work against each other. So overall, that experience really has molded me to who I am today. I'm a father. I provide. I'm able to give back in so many ways. So it's a humbling experience overall.
And my final question was how did you handle the culture shock? Because sometimes when people come from New York to Grambling, they're ready to go back home to say, I don't know what I just signed up for. So briefly tell us, how did you handle that culture shock?
To be very honest, I will say this, there is a big disconnection in terms of, I'll say, stereotypes. So when you're coming in from a different, like me coming from Cameroon, I had my stereotypes, but the best way to overcome stereotypes is what? To get uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to ask questions. You have to talk to people. You have to be willing to engage with people. When you start doing those kind of interactions, you start realizing that the person on the other side too is interested in knowing you. It's interested in knowing, want to build that relationship. It's interested in talking to you. So you break those myths or those kind of stereotypes by really engaging. I could choose to stick in my little environment, stick with my peers, and you'll find people who will do that. And it's also, but I found that when you get yourself in uncomfortable situations, you learn a lot, you grow, you build confidence, and there's that ability to be better. So I had my share of stereotypes, but I decided to get uncomfortable, which it gets awkward, but when you look back, like, whoa, it's necessary. It's critical and necessary to be that bridge and to change those kind of maybe perceptions that people may have.
Awesome. Thank you.
Miss Kim,
Yes.
just to add something, Grambling is very known in Cameroon. When we came to Grambling, we came because of somebody. And when we got to Grambling, we created a Cameroonian association. And through the association, we brought in many Cameroonians to Grambling. Now they're everywhere. Most of them are doctors, lawyers, they're everywhere. So Grambling is very known. And how to break the cultural shock, when you have somebody that look like you, that talks like you, it makes things easier. So, being there, when we brought in our friends, we could share our books, our notes. It was easy for them to integrate because we were there. Like we were the scapegoat. Like we're just there to help. So it helps also bridge that that cultural shock to them, because when they don't understand something, we explain to them that this is how it is done. This is how they do here. And just so coming from Cameroon, we had nowhere to go. We could not go back. So we had to stay on campus during holidays. Like when everybody is gone, we have nowhere to go. We have to stay there. And I want to thank all the professors, Dr. John Waha, Dr. Dr. Mokia, because during those times we used to stay in their house, in their homes. They were instructors teaching in Grambling. So when we had nowhere to go, we go and eat there. Go and spend time there. And I want to thank Miss Angeli, because if I am who I am today in Houston, it's because of Miss Angeli.
Wow. Wow. This was an amazing panel. It's always great to learn from those that came before us and those that came after us, so that we can have an even greater appreciation for Grambling State University and what it did for us and so many others, even more so now, just hearing about your international experience. That just takes my love for Grambling and appreciation even larger. So for that, I'm going to turn that back over to Ms. Nikki.
Well, if I could take a book and put each of your story on a page and bind it and publish it to the world, it would be a world's bestseller. So I have to tell you how much I have enjoyed listening to these stories. And yes, I am cocky. Mr. Wills, I can't wait to get my best job at Grambling taught me how to get, which is to be retired. I love Black and Gold is flowing through you, Sean. Eric, hugs. I'm gonna holler at you offline because I need a CPA for my business, but you have made an impression during, before, and after Grambling. Mr. Brown, I absolutely love your story and your picture. Like I could go on and on and on. Tubman Hall love, Miss Kimyetta. Mr. Killings, thank you for pointing out those jobs as far as translating, answering calls, those are the information that our students that we need, so thank you to all of you. Alexis, you got a great shout out.
You are quite welcome.
Thank you.
And if it's possible, I'd like to close out with a small prayer.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We would love for you to do that. Thank you for doing that. We have a couple of more housekeeping things that we'd like to discuss, and then we'll turn it over for you to do just that. So again, this was our inaugural program through the Special Projects Committee. I have to thank my co-chair, Mr. William Bryant, for dusting off his Rolodex. You heard his name being called out. Our connections and our networks are deep in Grambling. So thank you, Mr. Bryant, for allowing me to tap into that. Miss Angeli, everyone already knows your voluntold means just that, voluntold. So thank you for voluntolding Eric to get on this panel. Thank you for the impression that you've had on Lloyd and Fabrice for coming to our panel, because that was a wonderful addition that we needed to hear from. President Jones, thank you for your leadership, your welcome at the beginning of the program. Thank you, President Gallo, like you said last night, from the House note to the goldfish. We thank you for carrying it. Mr. Vice President Calvin Williams, thank you for entrusting us with this project. We know that it's not one that you maybe envisioned at first, but we thank you for allowing us to roll this out, and we hope that we can build on it. For anyone interested in finding out more about special projects, perhaps pitching an idea, joining the committee, please reach out to us. Our email address is gunaspecialprojects@gmail.com, and I'll post it in the chat. Again, that's gunaspecialprojects, all one word, @gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Again, we're the newest kid on the block as far as the committee, so we're open to ideas, and we would like to continue to build on this because we have something magnificent here. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. for our virtual session about virtual fundraising during COVID, which will be hosted by our very own Mr. William Bryant. And then last but not least, for any last minute Christmas shoppers, or if you know any last minute Christmas shoppers, it's not too late to register for the convention. Registration is still open through tomorrow at noon. And if you have enjoyed tonight, you don't want to miss what we have planned for the rest of the convention and the week. So with that, if there are no questions, no comments, anything else, I will turn it over to Reverend Brown to dismiss us with prayer.
I have one comment.
It's a great privilege.
Nikki.
Yes, sir.
Nikki, this is President Jones. President Jones here, just a second. I wanted to say, echo everything. Nikki, I appreciate everyone. This was really a great experience. We have a lot of, grounding has created a lot of us, and we all have that confidence. I can say that one thing we share in common. When we go somewhere, we don't care who's around. We have that confidence, and that's one thing that's unique. I've been around a lot of people that have gone to other universities, and I'm telling you, they're not quite like us. And LSU students I'm talking about, I have relatives, they are waiting for us to step up. And I'm telling you, I love it. And I know I picked the right place because I have a lot of people on the line that went to the same way. Thank you all. And man, I want this to be experience. This made my day. Thank you all. Okay, we'll turn it over to the Reverend.
I'd like for the entire panel to repeat the following prayer. Yes, Jesus Christ is in me.
Yes,
Jesus Christ is in me.
Yes, Jesus Christ is in me.
Yes, Jesus Christ is in me.
Bringing forth all the glorious hopes to come.
All the glorious hopes to come.
Yes, Jesus Christ is in me.
Yes, Jesus Christ is in me.
Bringing forth all the glorious hopes to come.
Bringing forward all the glorious hopes to come.
And our hopes to come are that Grambling State University will continue forevermore. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you all, and good night.